Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me every day. This is episode 13 of Daily Reflections during COVID 19. Can you imagine? I've done it every single day. I've woken up, dressed up, and had a guest to share reflections. And it's been amazing because I've been getting feedback from so many people around the world that this has been very useful for them. So today I have with me Kiran Manral. She's a dear friend. She's an author and award-winning author. Good morning, Kiran.
Good
Welcome to
morning,
my
Elsa.
show.
Good morning, Elsa. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, I'm just trying to also do this Facebook Live, but yeah. Um, Kiran, actually, you were the one who invited me to the summit at She the People and got me hooked to this kind of streaming software. And on that particular session, I had so much trouble actually getting connected, but it was fun. So thank you very much for giving me this new experience, which I'm totally loving. How are you doing today? How are you doing during the lockdown?
I'm doing well. It's been, I think, a good chance to slow down and to relook at oneself and one's goals and one's life. So I think it's been a blessing in disguise. One has been forced to slow one's pace down, so to speak.
Are we really slowing down? Because I feel like I'm working extra 12 to 14 hours a day. What do you think?
I think I've taken a conscious decision to slow down and to cut down things that I'm doing and to focus on stuff that's really important to me. So that's a decision I took during the lockdown, and when things started getting you start panicking. Initially, what is going to happen? Are we going to survive through this? What's going to happen when I if anything happens to me? What's the legacy I'm going to leave behind? So all these questions sort of come up and make you reevaluate a lot of things that's happening that you've been up to. So I think for me, it's been that kind of a time. It's been a slowing down, it's been a taking stock, it's been reevaluating. So I'm grateful for that.
So, in the last 3 years, you've been with She the People, and you've pretty much driven most of their events and all their in-person gatherings. Can you share a little bit about what it is like, to create these experiences for women, by women, and amplify the stories of women?
So, Elsa, as you know, I've sort of stepped back from She the People at the moment. I've decided to focus on writing, but it has been a wonderful 3 years because Shelley Chopra, the founder of She the People and a dear friend of yours too, was very clear in the fact that she wanted to create a platform and a space for women to support other women. And the focus was always on making sure that you had women who had stories to tell, strong voices, opinions, to curate women with differing viewpoints, not always create an echo chamber. So in that sense, it was very satisfying to sort of spread the net far and wide, and to get voices, to get women to speak unhindered. And it was a very democratic space to be in the sense, we had women from across the spectrum, had some good men as well. So that was great fun. It was really great fun. It was a great challenge. It was very, very rewarding personally.
And now you've taken a break from She the People to concentrate on your books. You have written several books over the years across different genres. How difficult it is to write different kinds of books, or
It
does it
isn't
come
actually.
naturally to you?
I've been a journalist, Elsa, since I was 19. I'm 49 now. So it's a lot of writing experience that goes into this because you learn to write across news, you learn to write across features, you learn to write opinion pieces. So that has been a wonderful training ground for me. So and also we learn to write in a very crowded newsroom, so that focus and that intensity does come in. Difficulty, I think each genre comes with its own challenges. To write a romance or a chick lit, you have to suspend your natural cynicism and even love conquering all. and everything being good at the end. To write non-fiction, you have to focus on a lot of research. That's where the journalistic part of me really comes in. To write literary fiction, you have to go deep, really deep, and there is research involved. There is getting into the psyche of the characters. So each genre has its own challenges and its own thrills. So I think like Walt Whitman, I contain multitudes. So those multitudes come out in the fact that I write different genres.
Do you have a routine when you write?
Um, I used to have a routine. It used to be pretty much at the desk all day. So I was at the desk all day writing and uh, doing my work and, sort of fitting in other stuff between the writing. And I think that's just it. That's, butt to the seat is the only way you get writing done. And anyone who tells you differently is kidding themselves. It's one word after one word after one word and just getting it done. It's pretty hard work. It's like running a marathon, I would say.
For me, it's so strange that I have to write two articles together, two blog posts together. I cannot write one piece, and
Okay.
that's why if anybody who's following me notices that I have a spurt of articles that come out, then there's a long period of silence. That's because that's how I write. I cannot write one at a time. However, I can only read one book at a time. But I do believe, because you always share about what books you're reading and stuff. Do you read multiple books at the same time?
If I don't know, but if you could see my bedside, no, you can't see it right now.
I could see it earlier. I could see the stack of books.
Books. So there are all books that I keep, switching to back and forth. So in an evening, I could read chapters from each two or three different books at a time, then go to Netflix and watch something till late in the night. So it's like multiple things at a time, but I can only write one thing at a time. So I'm from you. I could read
And I,
multiple.
and I'm the exact opposite. I can only watch one thing or read one thing. So, for example, I do not watch TV or Netflix unless I know I have time dedicated. Because if I have to watch a series, I have to watch it continuously. I cannot, even take a break to sleep. So I have to make sure that I have the whole day free, because if it's great, it's going to be binge watching. Otherwise, I don't watch at all. Yeah.
So I'm very clear about that. I can switch between multiple things. I have absolutely no qualms about ditching something that's boring me, even if it's like 3 pages in or half an episode in. I'm very, very focused like that. The life is too short. I have too few years. I'm not going to let myself get bored by anything. So I switch around a lot. But when I'm writing, I need to get into that one space, one zone, and focus on that. So that's how I've worked.
And do you have like a particular time of day that you work best, or you can work throughout the day?
I think I work best in bits and spurts, and I start from the morning. So around 7:30, my computer gets switched on, and it's on till around 7:30 in the evening. And I'll be working. I'll be doing other stuff also. I'll be getting back to it. So there's no particular time as such. It's just like doing bits and bits and bits of it and getting the work done. But I refuse to work after 7:30. Or if while the lockdown was not on, I would go for my walk or my run at around 6:30. So that was the time my comp would get switched off. So that's
That's
basically.
amazing to have like a hard stop, because most of us tend to take it for granted. And I do believe that especially during this lockdown mode, you need to have some kind of discipline, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because, yeah, go ahead.
So what happens is it's very easy to let work overtake your life. It's very easy. It just spreads its tentacles and it goes into every space. So you end up you're replying to emails at like 12 in the night, and you're doing stuff late in the night, and you're getting up early in the morning and again replying to emails. And at the end of it all, you really wonder. It's very important to replenish yourself, within yourself, and to get sources of information, to read, to do things that give you joy. But if you do that, then you become very unidimensional, I think. So it also depends on phases in life. At some phase, you might want to, put your head down and be completely focused in work. That's wonderful. At some phases, you might want to step out a bit and, broaden your base. I think it's completely up to the phase of life you're in and what kind of a mood you're in. At this point, I think a lot of us are suffering from an unstated anxiety and a fear and the uncertainty of what we are dealing with. It's a pandemic, I think, that we have never seen before in our lives, our parents have never seen before in their lives. And we need to not ignore it or not wish it away or not, look at it in the face, because the more we do that, the more it stays within us and makes us terrified. So, whatever gives you joy and whatever gives you relief, I think let us just decide that I want to do this that gives me joy today.
Several of my guests have spoken about, really enjoying the pause. So we say that this is a pause, but we don't really treat it as a pause. Like for me, for example, I'm still working 12 to 14 hours a day. So being comfortable with a pause, really enjoying doing nothing, if at all, that's what makes you happy and that's what you need, your body needs. I think it's really important, right?
Absolutely. I think self care is something that we don't prioritize and we really need to prioritize. Just the other day, I was telling my husband that this somehow feels like, you're back in school and the summer vacations are on in your childhood because the days are hot and long. Of course, we didn't have air conditioners back then. The days are hot and long, and it was the same old routine. You couldn't step out if you're not going out on a holiday, which we didn't at that point. Like we spent, either went, people went back to their native places or they stayed in the city. So it was one day after the another, one day after the other with the same routine, and that's how it feels like. But I think that's lovely because you need to slow down. We are in so much of a rush, and we think the world will stop without us, but nothing happens. Yeah, the world continues, and we continue, and we need to prioritize ourselves. We need to
And
pause and slow down.
truly, this is a gift from the universe if you think about it. Because going back to your analogy about our summer holidays, even we didn't go anywhere. My father worked in a bank, so we had every 4 years the bank would pay for a family trip. So
True.
our holidays would be every 4 years or maybe every 2 years to your native place. Our native place was Goa. So most of the time we were we were staying at home and reading books, because it was hot in the day. So this is a gift from the universe because everybody is in the same boat as you. Nobody has anywhere to go or any rush to be in. So I think we should focus more on the pause, and that's a note to myself to do more of that. Coming
Absolutely.
back, yeah, coming back to focus. Um, can you share some of your tips for budding writers? Apart from just write. What else can they do you know, to help them on their journey?
I see a lot of writers, young writers who are starting out in a great hurry to get published. Getting published is not your goal. Writing well is your goal. So I may sound like an old biddy saying that, but I say, practice your craft. You have to read. You have to read infinitely more than you will write. So there have to be thousands of pages that you have read before you dare write one page. And if you have not read, it shows in your writing. I just got called out the other day for saying that, I'm judgmental of anybody who's an Indian writer and calls themselves an Indian writer in English and who has grammatical errors. And thing was, not everybody comes from a place of privilege like you do, and whatever. I completely get that also, but I say words are your tool. So if you're going to use words, make sure that you know the words that you're using, you know the syntax, you know the grammar, you know how to use those words to their best effect. Practice and draft and redraft. The first draft of anything is absolute rubbish. Anything that goes to a publisher has to be reworked endless times before you're content with it. Have somebody else look at it. Also, fill yourself with experiences. There's a wonderful quote by, I think, Geeta Moksan, who says, if you haven't stood up to live, how can you sit down to write? So fill your experiences first and live life first, because that is also important. But having said that, there was Scott Fitzgerald, who wrote his most wonderful work when he was just 27. So what do I say? The Great Gatsby was written when he was really young, and the wisdom and the depth of life experience that comes to in that book is something else altogether. So these are little things that I believe in. They may not be absolutes, but I think read a lot, write and revise what you write a lot, and also live life to the fullest that you can, because life experience is what you need to draw from. You can't write your most, I mean, emotions and experiences have to be felt in order to be conveyed with great, I wouldn't say authenticity, I would say with the depth of feeling.
That's true. Actually, when I first started, writing, I've always liked writing, but never really had the time to. And when I was in aviation, I used to travel a lot, and I felt I had these most amazing experiences, but none of my friends probably would have had those. So I tried to capture what I was feeling and experiencing, like the Christmas markets in Germany, or maybe, going for an event in summer in Europe, but in a small town which nobody had ever heard of, or, nighttime in Petra and Jordan. And a lot of my friends would say, we live through your blogs because, um, we- if we had a chance, would we go there? Maybe not. People may not have the luxury of doing that. And so I started, you know, taking a little more interest in putting the details in along with my photographs, etc. And I also love taking photographs. But then somewhere down the line, I lost confidence completely. I went for it was so funny because I went for a writing workshop, and after the writing workshop, I lost my confidence.
Oh my
And
God.
then once I started Safe City, I joined Aspen New Voices, and they actually taught you how to structure an op-ed, and they encouraged you to write. And then, of course, She the People gave me the platform as well, amongst others. And I started, like Shaili said, a daily column, and I had to force myself to write one every week. But I think that discipline of just thinking about during the week, what is the most important topic that I want to focus on and link it to my work really made a difference.
Absolutely.
So, is there like, during COVID-19, for example, people have a lot of time and young people can use this platform to actually share experiences. Could you suggest some, places that they could write without thinking about getting published, but where, like there's Medium, but there's so many other things that they can test out. Are they, is their writing interesting to somebody else? Often, I write because I want to write for myself, but the larger goal is for others as well to consume your opinion.
So, Elsa, for the longest time after I quit journalism in around 2000, I was trying to have a baby, and I had my kid. I dropped out of full time work, but blogs were what came to my rescue, and I began blogging. And it was very silly, but I had decided that come what may, I would put a blog post up every day. So I had two blogs which went on to become the most popular blogs in India. One apparently still is in the top 100 worldwide. I just got to know the other day. I have no clue because
Which
I
one?
forgot about Kiran Manral at WordPress.com. I'd completely forgotten about it, but it popped up on a list just a few days ago. And all I say is whether you use Medium, whether you use WordPress, whether you do Insta posts, whether you do go to Wattpad, they're completely different mediums, but the only commonality is discipline yourself to make a post every single day. It doesn't have to take up too much of your time. You can allocate 10 minutes of your day, 15 minutes of your day. That's all it will take. Write something, put something down. That discipline, as you said, Elsa, of writing every day or thinking about what you want to write every week, that's what's important. And that is what, if you're going to wait for the muse to come, the muse will never come. If the muse sees you sitting every single day and saying, okay, this person is serious about making this work, she'll say, okay, let me pay a visit and let's see what happens. So, discipline, Wattpad, Medium, WordPress, Insta if that's your seed, TikTok videos if your creativity is not verbal and you want to create with your content, why not? I mean, just go ahead, but create, be a creator, do something to create. That's important.
You share a lot about your son, and I don't, want to put him in the spotlight as much as you want to share about him. But I want to talk about your role as a mentor to young people. So, having a son who's in that age group where he's now starting to go to college and, just experiencing life, how are they coping with, how is he and his friends coping with COVID-19, and what advice would you give to the young people out there?
Advice, I don't know, Elsa. Far be it from me to give any advice, but I think they are pretty realistic about what's happening. In fact, long when before this entire thing blew up, my son, I remember in around Feb, yeah, I was traveling for multiple events, and we were talking about how this thing is happening and how it's scary and how people are coming and carrying this virus. And he said, maybe we are the virus. Maybe COVID is the corona. We never. It wasn't COVID then. Maybe corona is the Earth producing antibodies to get rid of us. And I thought that was really such a wise statement for him to make. And it does, in retrospect, it does seem like that. But it is it is boring for them because they're restless, they have so much energy, they don't know what to do, they're cooped in the house, they're turning to video games, and I'm not stopping him now because whatever keeps you busy and occupied and fine, it's okay, this will pass. uh, it's not for us to expect them to get on the studies, many of because he's in college, so they really don't have any online classes, anything happening right now. School kids have their classes and their projects and their homework to keep them occupied. And what worries me really, Elsa, is also the fact that this entire divide is becoming so obvious now. Kids who can afford to have connectivity, laptops, home computers are the ones who can get the education. What about the other kids who don't? So that's the thing that's been worrying me a lot. They're going to be left behind. They're not going to be able to, catch up. This is a gap in their learning that's going to show up sooner or later.
And it's
With
really sad, it's very sad. And because I was feeling really strongly about it, we started this series every Wednesday and Friday called Inclusive Cities, where we are bringing in urban experts to help us understand what can we do better the next time round, when this crisis is over and we redesign cities, because it's untenable what's happening. And I do believe younger people are more attuned to these challenges. They are more conscious about social inequalities, about environmental inequalities, and they care more about climate, etc. So, yeah, I mean, I think your son is brilliant.
don't let him hear that.
What is the one skill? Everybody's picking up new skills. This is my skill, learning how to stream live chats. But what is the one skill that you picked up during this time?
Oh man, I've not picked up any skills. For me, it's the fact that I can keep the family fed and watered is skill enough. Because I did absolutely zero domestic work earlier. So now, just keeping everything running, and the staff obviously is not coming in. And we didn't have live-in household staff, but I had core staff that came in through the day to keep everything in operational condition. Now it's like four people's work to be done. So I think that is a life lesson for me to learn how to manage on my own and not to be dependent on anyone. And now I know that if God forbid this situation ever arises again, I'm not going to panic the way I did earlier. I can do it. I can manage, and I can occasionally, cook up edible food.
Yeah. And once this is over, and it will be over, it's just a matter of time. What is the one thing that you're looking forward to doing?
Going and meeting mom. I haven't met her in so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
So
take it for granted, don't we? All these little things in life, people that we love, that we can just go and chat with or touch. The physical touch is so important. But how's she doing?
She's very feisty and she's 81 years old. She stays alone. She's doing her own thing. I mean, just a few months ago, I finally convinced her to keep a top servant for her charu pocha bartan. So she's pretty used to doing everything on her own. It's the challenge is just to get supplies across to her, but luckily she has some people from the church who are helping out and getting her the supplies. I had stocked her up earlier, but then it got extended, so she ran out of supplies. Anyway, long story, but it is well. And I offered, you want to come and stay with us, you want to come and go to your brother's place, you want to go to your friend's place, we can get that done. No, I'm good by myself. I want to be by myself. Okay, mom.
Yeah, I think the idea of their own space and their own autonomy is so critical to their well being. Yeah, good on your mom. So, anyway, thank you so much, Kiran. This was really fun chatting with you. I wish you all the best with your new books and look forward to reading them soon.
Thank you so much, Elsa, and all the best with your writing. I hope you get down to writing your books as well and finishing
Yes.
them. I know that we could all do with reading that handbook.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. I have Vishaka Datta. Bye.
Bye. Bye.